Hello, everyone. Hope everyone is good. Waiting on my guests to come on. About to bring them in.
Hey.
Hey, girl. Hold up. Let me get my other guests in.
I'm out in these streets momming, so I'm taking it in the car while they're in the mall.
Hey. Oh, we spring shopping.
Hey,
Hey, girl.
Hey,
throwing on
Betsy.
some lip gloss. Hello.
Girls. How are y'all?
Good.
Good, good, good. We'll get started in about 2 minutes. About a couple minutes.
I didn't want to look like I was dead, so I was like, let me put on a little blush and some.
You
Don't
look
look crazy.
beautiful. You look
Thank
beautiful.
you. As do you. Hey, Mama. Ooh.
All right. I hope you ladies got something to sip on because we're gonna have a great chat today.
Yeah, I got some water.
I have
I
leftover.
have that same tumbler that
A
you
friend of
have,
mine gave
Betsy.
it to me. Yeah.
All right. Give about another minute and then we'll get started. Hello to everyone that is coming on. Hope you are in for a wonderful chat today. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get started, ladies. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Tisha, your favorite breast cancer survivor for Tisha's Tea Room, the place where conversations conquer cancer. And that's what we are doing today. We're going to have another fabulous conversation today, Conquering Cancer, as we are celebrating Women's History Month. And so I have two wonderful guests who are breast cancer thrivers, who are good friends of mine that I recently met and that have become great friends. And I wanted them to come on to share their stories with you all. And so please, everyone, give a warm welcome to my friends, my breast cancer breasties, Alicia and Betsy. Hey, girls.
Hey. Thanks for having us. We're excited to be here.
Oh, thank you so very much for taking the time out on this Sunday to come to the tea room, as I always say. So Betsy, I'm going to start with you first because Betsy is coming from my home state. She currently lives in the state of South Carolina. So we get Alicia back on. She's coming from the state of South Carolina. So shout out to my family and friends that are back home in South Carolina. And Betsy is also a Marine Corps veteran. So again, thank you for your service, not only and you are an educator as well, such as myself. So you are doing service double duty. So thank you for your service in the military, as well as thank you for your service as being an educator, because I know all too well how being an educator, how stressful that can be, and how hardworking you are. So thank you for that. But just tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us about your breast cancer journey.
Okay. So hi, everyone. I'm Betsy. I live in Camden, South Carolina, but I was born and raised in Virginia, which is how I know Alicia, our next guest, who still lives in Virginia. So that's our connection there. I teach 7th grade social studies, so middle school teacher. I've been in education for
Mm.
8 years. It is I guess, third career, if you will. I did college and Marine Corps kind of at the same time. I was in the Marine Corps Reserves. I am a very huge believer in that you cannot be an effective leader unless you've been a follower
Right.
first. And so I decided to enlist in the Marine Corps and do the reserves while I was in college. And I graduated from boot camp 3 weeks before 9/11. So the Marine Corps career that I planned to have for 20 years was derailed on 9/11, and it took me on a very different path. And so I stayed enlisted and went to Iraq in 2005 after I had graduated from boot camp. Or, sorry, I graduated from college in the spring of 2004 and then went to Iraq in February of 2005. And so by the time I got home, I was like, and we're done with this career. my body hurts already
Yeah.
due to training and injuries. And, I was already starting to have breathing issues and so on. And so I transitioned into a career of government service where I worked for different organizations like the FBI, State Department, the Department of State. And then I finally had a breakthrough in 2014 where I was like, I'm done. I don't want to live this life anymore. I don't love the DC area. I am not a happy person. I didn't realize at the time and would later find out that I was suffering from post-traumatic stress, anxiety, and depression as a result of, my military service and then my childhood. So I moved to Florida, did an Eat, Pray, Love situation, tried to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. I knew that I wanted to stay in a position that allowed me to have a direct positive impact on somebody's life. I just didn't know what population that would become. And I ended up going into teaching because I needed a job and they're always hiring teachers. And I was like, I'll do this for, a year or two till I find something else. And here I am 8 years later, looking to continue to stay in education until I retire. And in 2021, I was, ironically, I got COVID. So I got COVID in August. And then in December, actually in November, it was Thanksgiving week. I went to go visit my sister and she lived in Detroit. I was living in Texas by this point. And I had this like in my breast that had started over the summertime. And it was one of those things that there was no rhyme or reason. It didn't coincide with a cycle or anything. I didn't find a lump. It was just this annoying, like pulling sensation almost from the inside out. So it was like from the nipple towards my chest wall. And so I was like, well, that's different. And so I decided to just kind of monitor it. And then when I went to my sister's the week of Thanksgiving, the pain was there and it was constant. It wasn't going away. And so I was like crying myself to sleep because it hurt that bad, but not telling my family so I didn't ruin the holidays, which I know some of you can probably relate to that as well.
Right.
So I left her house the Friday after Thanksgiving and went straight to urgent care. And that's when the doctor found the lump. And then the official diagnosis came on December 13th that I was diagnosed with triple negative invasive ductal carcinoma. And so I spent the next, year and a half. Well, I started, and it was an immediate, like my doctor was like, we're not messing around with this. And so in January, I started the first 12 rounds of paclitaxel. Then I had the 4 rounds of AC. The double mastectomy happened in June of 22. And then I started Xeloda chemotherapy, oral chemotherapy, which ended in January of 2023. And that's it. There's no like hormones that I can take. There's no additional medication that I can take because I'm triple negative.
Okay. So you were going through treatment during COVID.
Yep. And still teaching.
And still.
So I have a classroom full of kids that are looking at me and I'm like, I have to tell them the truth because my hair's falling out.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, I think they took it harder than I did. I think that I ever had the opportunity. I never gave myself the opportunity to truly process what I was going through. And having children and getting married is something I always wanted for my life. And I am thankful that I didn't have that surrounding me when I was going through treatment. Because I feel like other women who do go through breast cancer and do have to deal with their families and you have to be on for your kids and have a strong faith. That was a challenge I didn't have to have.
Right.
So it is a blessing in disguise.
Wow. Just, girl, if I'm about to type up the word resilience on the internet, and your face is I know it's gonna automatically pop up, because for you to go through treatment during COVID, which in itself was, oh my gosh, everybody was on 10, because we didn't know what was going on. We didn't know how we were going to get day to day. And for you to also go through treatment while still teaching. I did the same thing when I was during my going through chemo. I teach kindergarten, for those that don't know.
You are an angel.
Say, you are the angel. I couldn't do middle school. Give me the babies any day. But for you to, again, as I'm going through treatment, chemo every other Friday. Monday, I'm back in the classroom with my kids. For me, it was a distraction. They were my strength. I'm like, this was, because teaching is my heart. And that was something that I knew that I wanted to continue to do, and I knew I was not going to let cancer beat me. And they were a distraction. But for you to, go, how hard was it? Let me ask you, how hard was it for you to go through your treatments during COVID? How did that work for you?
So I learned that, and Alicia can attest to this, I try very hard to see the positive in everything, because I feel like we get so hung up on the negativity and the woe is me and why me, and I'm like, I can't live in that mindset.
Right.
And so I learned, for me, that chemo was a day that I actually looked forward to. And it wasn't because I was getting medication. It was because for that 4 or 5 hours that I'm sitting in that chair, nobody is asking me for anything. I don't have to answer any questions. I don't have to be on. I can sit there and just exist. And I really needed that for that peace of mind, so I could get through the next treatment.
Right.
And then forced me, if anything, cancer has forced me to lean into and learn to accept that is okay to be vulnerable, and that is okay to accept help. As women of color, we are, it is beat into our heads that you can't ask anybody for nothing. Like, don't share your secrets, don't tell about your family, don't do any of that. Right. And this forces you to have to accept the help, because you can't do everything.
Right.
And the same went for my students. I really had to learn to communicate with them, because there were days where I just didn't have it in me anymore. And I'm like, guys, I don't feel good. And I need you to know that, because if I am in a bad mood and I snap on you, that's not your fault. It's mine. I don't feel good.
Yeah.
And I ended up going on FMLA at the end of March. I just, right after my first round of AC, I couldn't take the nausea anymore. I couldn't take the irritability. And so I took the last 6 weeks of school was off. So I went on FMLA and went into the summertime, which I know is a privilege that a lot of people don't have if they have a job where they don't get summers off like we do.
Right. So Alicia, I want to bring you in, because your journey is one that is unique as well. And I want the listeners to hear your story, because if I were to, again, look up the word resilient, your picture would be right beside Betsy. So please share with everyone your breast cancer story.
Well, Betsy's been my girl for a long time, so I guess I'd be happy if both of our names came up together in a search inquiry. So with me, I was living my best life at the age of 33. I think, Betsy, you were still here during that time, right?
Oh, yeah, I was here.
We were like going to the bar after the pool in bathing suits, having drinks for happy hour. We were just living our best life.
Just living your best life.
We were. But what happened with me was, actually, I had noticed a lump in my breast for a little bit of time, but I just didn't, I kind of shrugged it off. Like Betsy was saying, I chalked it up to like being hormones or something like that. And then also my mother had, I think, a cyst or something in her breast before. So when I had shared it with, my OB at the time, she was like, okay, well, if your mother had one, then it could potentially be that. But what ended up happening was, I found out I was pregnant with my, first child in August of 2013. And actually I found I was pregnant in July. Yeah, it was in July.
Mhm.
And when I went to go have my pregnancy confirmed, I went ahead and asked the on the OB at the time, like, hey, can you check this lump out and see what it is? So he felt it. It was a male doctor. He felt it and he said, well, I'm not sure, but now that you know your pregnancy's been confirmed, just for us to play it safe, let me go ahead and send you to the ER and have them do a biopsy like ASAP to just rule out the potential of cancer.
Right.
So what was crazy was I went the same day. It was like I called over to the hospital. They were able to fit me in the same day. Went in, did the biopsy. I remember my mother was with me,
Hmm.
and when they were done, the doctor actually came to me, and she said, "Well, you know, we don't have confirmed results right now. I mean, you know, we don't have anything confirmed, but I've been doing this for a long time, and I can pretty much confirm that it is cancer." So,
So what was going through your
oh
mind? You are pregnant,
yeah.
and now they have just confirmed that you got cancer.
Well, wasn't confirmed at that time,
Well,
so my mind was at a million miles a minute. I go to
I
the
could only
car. I
imagine.
mean, I got tears streaming down my face. I'm telling my mom, like, Ma, they said it's cancer. She's like, well, they haven't. Nothing's come back yet. You know, we're not going to claim that. My father doing the same thing.
Hmm.
Well, fast forward less than 2 weeks later, I'm at work. I work for the federal government in the DC area.
Okay.
Been with them for over 20 years. I was at work. I got the phone call on my cell phone while I was sitting at my desk. And the nurse called me and she said, you know, asked who I was and everything. And she said, well, we got your results back. And are you sitting down? And I'm like, yeah. And she says, okay, well, I need you to write it down. You've been diagnosed with invasive ductal carcinoma.
Hmm. Jesus.
I
Okay.
dropped the phone
I mean,
and
I mean, because it's like a punch in the gut.
yeah, I dropped the phone and I just fell to the floor. I mean, I was in tears in my office. One of my she's a good friend now. One of my coworkers was there to help
Hmm.
lift me up and take me out the building because I'm just
Hmm.
like, you know, I find out I'm expecting and then I find
Right.
out I'm diagnosed with cancer. So they kind of, because I was pregnant and they kind of like expedited me being able to see
Hmm.
an oncologist. Well, when I went to see the oncologist, my first visit, when I got into his office, same one with sit down, hands me a notepad and an ink pen and says, write all this down. Now, my mother's with me, my father with me, and my children's father was with me. And he goes, well, first off, we've already scheduled you for a DNC because you're going to have to abort this child. Then you're going to immediately start chemotherapy and you're going to write these two drugs down. You're going to have this many rounds, this. I'm like, whoa, 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 like bombarding all this
Hmm.
information at
Right.
me. I'm like, time out, slow down, you know. But of course, those who are with me, they're taking note because they're
They're
like,
taking those.
yeah,
Yeah.
we care about saving you. So we get in the parking lot and I'm talking to my parents and I'm like, I'm not doing all of that.
Hmm.
And of course, my father, being, you know, the dad, is like, well, you know, you can have children later, but right now we are concerned most with saving you.
Hmm.
So I'm still as stubborn as I am, and everybody who knows me knows I'm very stubborn. I'm like I'm still not taking that at his word. So one of the I guess somebody in the network recommended a breast surgeon and they were able to get me in with him the very next day. So when we were going through all of what I had just found out from the oncologist, the breast surgeon tells me, hey, you know, I just came back from this medical conference literally this past weekend. And they introduced this test called um, mammoprint, which is a different type of genomic test than what the historical one is, which is called Oncotype.
Hmm.
He says, and I want to send your results off and I want to send your labs off and see exactly what they come back with. Got that back, find out I didn't need chemo, um, and I didn't have to abort my child. If I hadn't, he was divine intervention.
Yep.
If I
Absolutely.
hadn't have met my breast surgeon that very next day, after my oncologist had already scheduled for me to terminate my pregnancy, there's no telling how my life would have went.
Right.
So he laid out the plan and he says, okay, you're going to be able to have this baby. But what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to do a lumpectomy as soon as you hit your second trimester, because my cancer was, unlike Betsy's, who was triple negative, mine
Hmm.
was ER estrogen positive, progesterone negative. So being
Yes.
pregnant, of course, my body is I'm just estrogen driven when
Yes.
carrying a baby,
You and I had the same type cancer. So
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So they were
Hmm.
more so worried about making sure the tumor didn't
Continue
continue to grow.
to grow.
Yeah.
Right.
Even though
Right.
it was contained within the tumor, they wanted to make sure it didn't get any bigger. So the week I hit my second trimester, I underwent a lumpectomy. So I was able to then continue out with the pregnancy, have my daughter, my oldest, in April of 2014. And then 30 days after I had her, I had to begin tamoxifen, the drug to suppress the estrogen. And then I
Yep.
had to start radiation.
Okay.
So I ended up having 39 rounds of radiation, and I had really, really bad postpartum depression
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
coming off the pregnancy hormones, tamoxifen is a monster
And
within itself.
that it is.
And then
Still on
that,
it now.
yeah,
Hmm.
and then that, oh bless you, woof, I
Still
couldn't, I
on it
couldn't
now.
endure it.
I
And
got
then,
one more year.
oh, how long,
So I was diagnosed in 2014,
uh
February of
huh, oh
2014.
wow,
So I have to be on tamoxifen for 10 years. So December next year, 2025, I'll be finished.
oh you are,
Girl,
I
So
we were throwing
applaud
a
you,
party.
yeah.
oh,
We're
we
gonna
are
have a
gonna party.
party for
We are
you.
we are
Whew.
absolutely gonna party. I'm coming home. So Betsy, get ready. Because you're in Camden. I'm from Chester, so you're not too far
Yeah,
from me.
not
We're
at
gonna have a
all.
party in South Carolina. Alicia, we're gonna have a party here in the
Yeah,
DMV
I
because
don't,
you're not too far
woo.
from me here. So absolutely, we're gonna party the whole year. We're gonna party all year.
I
Absolutely.
don't
But
know
yes, that
how
tamoxifen
you,
it's a
how have
beast.
you been functioning? I mean, I had brain fog out of this world. The
Girl.
Still
mood
do,
swings was here, there. How?
still do. The chemo brain, it is real. And like I'm 9 years in remission now, and still I have challenges with remembering stuff, and it gets so frustrating because I know what I want to
Mm-hmm.
say, but it's like I can't think think of the right word to say, and it just won't come out, and I get so frustrated. I'm like, come on, teacher, you know what you want to say, just get it out. But it's the nature of the beast. And not only with that, I'm 40, I'm 46, so I'm starting perimenopause. So that's starting to come into play now, along with all these other with the other effects of with the tamoxifen, with the chemo brain. So for me, I the only side big thing that affected me with the tamoxifen was again the chemo brain, and I gained and the weight gain. So I was very fortunate, but there are so many others that are out there that are like such as yourself that are on tamoxifen that are having all of these other side effects. So that's why we have these conversations so
Yep.
that we can support each other. Hey, well, what are you doing? Well, what are you doing? How is it helping you? Well, this is how it's helping me. Maybe this you can try this. It can help with you. Um, so the experiences that you're having with the mood swings and what else you got going on with
Well, oh no,
and the
so I ended up,
so
like I told you,
so I
I'm a huge advocate. I got off of that stuff.
okay,
So I had Johns Hopkins was involved in my treatment too. I could
okay,
not endure tamoxifen for more than three. I gave them 3.5 years was my best effort. And I
yeah,
also wanted to have more children because, they also tell you that it could be fatal if you get pregnant while on it. Well, I wanted to have more children. I have two more. So I had to come off the tamoxifen.
yeah.
And, but I ended up going, I still, even now, look, it's funny saying this. I just went and bought a crossword puzzle yesterday. I need to keep my
I
brain
do them
moving.
all the time. That
Yeah.
helps me. I
Yeah.
do word search puzzles all the
Yep.
time.
I
Yes,
bought
because
that
it helps
yesterday.
me.
But I
Yeah.
ended up going to see a neuropsychologist. I went under 4 months of treatment with a neuropsychologist where, they would put the brain cap on you and like send signals because my response time was like 30. and they want you to be 80 or above. That's how slow it was with me processing something with that tamoxifen. So
With
that's
that
why I said I
tamoxifen.
applaud you for you to be enduring that for 9 years. I can't even begin to think of where I would have been if I would have stayed on that stuff.
I appreciate it. Well, you two are true advocates of breast cancer and advocates for yourself. How important is it to advocate, especially for the African American, well, not only the African American community, but people, women of color?
Yeah.
This is a
See, I
question
let,
for both
yeah.
of y'all. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is a question for both of you, so jump in.
I will say for me, I want to piggyback off of what you both were just saying, and for the audience, I would like to share that I am Hispanic, even though I look like I'm white as white. We always laugh at that. Alicia
Is
teases
a
me.
person. She is
You
a
know,
woman of
I am
color.
definitely a
Absolutely,
She
person
she
of
is.
color. But I don't know how you're dealing with that chemo brain, because I went to my doctor and I'm like, I was like, I'm in education. We ain't about to do this. Like, and I begged them to put me on Adderall, and they did. So that is something I encourage you, if it's something that you're able to do, you know, because I know there's a heart, you know, they have to look at your heart and do EKGs and stuff, but that was
Right.
a game changer for me. That was the first thing that I did. And then the second thing that I've done that a lot of women don't know about is I hired a functional medicine doctor. And so she is, she went to school, she was internal medicine, she was doing the family practice thing, you know, all of that. And she realized, she's like, I'm tired of prescribing medications that are only treating symptoms. I want to figure out what the root cause of the issues are. And so that's how she approaches her practice. So she shifted from being internal medicine and went and did some certifications to transition into functional medicine. And so what she does is she runs a whole panel of tests. I mean, blood, urine, the whole poop and mail it off thing. I had to do that. That was a tragedy in and of itself. But I mean, that's a whole other story. But you know, but what she did was she gets the whole panel back and she looks at the big picture, and she's like, well, no wonder you're not losing weight, because I, just like you, I gained 50 pounds on chemo. I wasn't losing weight. I had what she has learned is that I have toxins in my body, and that's stuff that can come from like the Roundup that's happening. I was in Iraq, so I was exposed to a ton of toxins.
Yeah.
When I came back, I had 19 toxins. She's like, you're the worst case I've ever had, so it's going to take a long time to get you where you need to be. And she's put me on supplements that are helping to flush my body of those toxins a little bit at a time. Because if we do it all at one time, my body's going to go into shock and it's not going to be good. But it's a little bit at a time, and it flushes the toxins out. And what we've learned is essentially what the toxins did is they created like an M&M casing around my cells. And so my cells are not absorbing nutrients. So I'm eating right, I'm exercising, and I'm not losing any weight because my body is still in starvation mode. And so with the supplements that I'm taking, it's my systems, my gut health, my endocrine system, like all of the systems that we have in our body. It's teaching them to absorb the nutrients that I need to survive and not fight itself. So it's been a good process. Like I can definitely see changes. It's a slow process, but I've been working with her for a little over a year now, and I can feel the differences. I'm sleeping better. I'm going to the bathroom regularly, which I wasn't doing before. So if you are in a position where you're able to work with a functional medicine doctor, I highly recommend finding one and working with them. And my girl is virtual, so if anybody wants information for that, I can send it later.
Oh, wow.
That
I've
is
never even
awesome.
heard of
That is
that.
awesome. So look at all these resources that
I know.
she just gave you all for those that are watching. What a wonderful resource! Another resource for you to have.
Tisha, my friend Dominique just joined. That's the one. That's my coworker that I said was with me at USDA when I got the phone call. So it's nice to see she was able to tune in. Hey, Dominique.
Hey, Dominique. Thank you so much for being with my friend. Thank you so very much.
He was definitely there to literally pick me up off the floor when I got that news. So I'm so thankful for people like her.
How fitting that Dominique just came on, because she was your support system. So let's talk about that. How important, or how was your, both of you ladies, how was your support system going through your journey?
I have an amazing support system. My parents are close by, thankfully. I have a huge family, so my mother is one of 11. So please know that I have a lot of aunts and they
Mm-hmm.
stay prayed up. I had my aunt even have her pastor at the time pray over some oil, had me rubbing it, every
Oh,
day. Like I have,
okay.
yeah,
Yes.
it's amazing. And being in the DMV area too, I mean, just even since we've been on this call, I've seen friends jump on and off. For me to be as far out as I am,
Mm-hmm.
I still feel like I have the same support system I had from day one. They have
Mm-hmm.
not wavered. They have not forgotten about me, even with me doing this
Mm-hmm.
advocacy stuff. How sometimes people be
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, here they go again. It's breast cancer month. But you'd be surprised, like they're still standing by, supporting us.
Yeah.
And we're each other's village too, because
Mm-hmm.
Betsy was there with me 10 toes down when I first got the news, and then when she ended up getting diagnosed, which I would have never wished in a million years,
Right.
I was there. Even though I couldn't be there with
Mm-hmm.
her in person, I was there by
Person.
text
Mm-hmm.
message,
Yeah.
everything you can think of. I
Absolutely.
was
Yes.
holding her up.
Absolutely. That was my best friends because my best friends are still in South Carolina. So if they couldn't get to me physically here in Maryland, they was texting, they were sending packages, they was calling, FaceTime, or whatever it was that just to let me know that they were there in spirit. And I felt them near me, and that helped me to get through. That was, part of my journey. But did either of you join any support groups? And if so, how did that help you? Or if it didn't help you, what did help
I'll
you?
let Betsy go because I have a laundry list to rattle off of mine. She's gonna get there though, because Betsy wants to increase her advocacy, so I'm gonna be holding
Well,
her hand. I'm gonna let
okay,
her
and
start, then I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
rattle
hold
them
her
all.
hand too. Betsy, we both are
So,
gonna hold your hands because you are advocating right now just by coming on the tea room and sharing your story. So,
well, and I definitely want to share with everybody that's on that the hardest things is to also put up boundaries, because everybody does want to help you,
yes,
but there are days where you're just like, I just need to be
I
left alone, and
alone.
I need you to understand that that's okay, that it's nothing personal. It's just that I don't need you in my face asking me every five
Hmm.
minutes if I'm okay. I
Yeah.
want to sleep. One of the things I do have a great village of people that came to my help, and I had two roommates that were living with me at the time. I owned my house in Texas, and I end up adopting people all the time. So they were living with me when I got diagnosed, and I'm very thankful that they were there. But one of the lessons that I learned was that my cancer diagnosis can be and was a trigger for other people
Hmm.
in their healing.
Yeah.
One of my friends, her mother died of breast cancer, and so when I was diagnosed, another person close to her, it was a trigger for her, and so she was trying to help me in ways that she wished she could have helped her mother, and that wasn't the type of help that I needed. So we really
Hmm.
had to open that kind of communication, and you have to ask for what you need. And that's hard because it's like you don't want to bite the hand that feeds you either,
Hmm.
right? You want to be thankful for that
You want to be right,
support
right.
system, but you also don't want to resent people for not giving you the support that you actually truly need. And
Right.
I think that that's a lesson and a conversation that definitely needs to be had and be on the forefront of people's minds.
Hmm.
The other thing is, through the breast cancer community, it's you connect with people like, oh, you just got diagnosed. As soon as you find out what type it is, then somebody has a friend
Hmm.
that has gone through the same thing or
Yep.
is going through the same thing. And
Yep.
so, even though Alicia had been through the same type of, or had been through cancer as well, her diagnosis was very different than mine. Her treatment plan was very different than mine. And so I got connected through a friend of a friend of a friend,
Hmm.
with a girl in California that I had never met. She was triple negative and she had been diagnosed 6 months before me. So I was able to talk to her
Hmm.
and ask her all of the questions that nobody else could answer. Even those intimate questions of like, am I supposed to be feeling like this? I'm like, is the bloating supposed to look like
Hmm.
this?
Hmm.
Are things supposed to smell like this? All of those uncomfortable questions. It's nice to be able to ask somebody
Yeah.
who has gone through it,
Through it.
because if you ask some of the things that we go through and some of the things that our body gets put through with treatment, if you were to ask like a normal person who's never been through it, they're going to look at you like you've got your head like eight heads, right? They're like,
Yeah.
what in the hell are you talking about?
Exactly. They don't. Yeah.
They don't get
They
it, and
could.
I'm
They
glad that
don't
they
get
don't.
it. They don't.
So
They
that's
they
Yeah.
didn't get
get
it.
it.
We become a part of as I say, an elite sisterhood, because we are a sisterhood, and it's a sisterhood in a community that first, we never thought that we would actually be a part of. Never thought in
Yeah.
a million years that this would be, this would be our journeys and this would be where we are today. But at the same time, I'm thankful that I have my sisters, that I have friends like you all in my community to go that, like you said, understands. Because if I were to ask a normal person, why is my body doing this, and this, and they couldn't tell me because they never gone through it.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
but yes, but go ahead, Alicia. How?
Well, I was in a, like you said, not just the elite, but I was also in a even more streamlined category because I was pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
So when I first
Yes.
got diagnosed, I had this um, wonderful organization called Hope for Two reach out to me,
Mm-hmm.
and it paired me up with a lady just like Betsy. Never met her in my life. We were communicating via email and text, and she was like in the Midwest somewhere who had also underwent the same type of cancer I had while she was pregnant. So that was a great resource, but still sometimes you kind of also want people, and not saying I'm not open to all resources, but it's more welcoming when it's somebody that looks like me too, because
Yes.
as we just talked about, even as all being women, being a woman of color,
Color.
we still have different
Yeah.
thing than what the other communities do. Like your skin
Absolutely.
could be blotching,
Yeah.
you could be extra ashy. They
Eh,
don't they
all
may
and
not know
and
why your
they
skin's
don't
so
and they don't
Girl,
understand that.
this lotion right here, Cutamol. This is the lotion you need to get.
cute them all. Okay.
Cutamol. Yep, it is great, especially
Betsy,
for
please, Betsy, email me that
Yeah,
and
you
take
got
a picture
to
of it because
drop
I'm
these
going. I
jewels.
Yes,
it's
so
great for
I
the
can put this.
neuropathy when your feet is breaking apart, the ashy
I will
heels.
put that on my social media page as a resource. Absolutely, because we need these. We need this.
Yeah,
We need
yeah.
that.
But see, so for me, it was different. Like what Betsy was saying is, oh, Betsy, someone said hold it
Someone
back up.
hold it back
Yeah,
up,
my
Betsy.
godmom said hold it back up. Cue them all, Trees,
Cue them
cue them
all.
all.
Everybody, take a picture of it. Go find it. Where
I'm gonna
can you
pull it up on
find it?
Amazon and put it in. You can get it on Amazon. I'll put the link in the comments.
Okay. But with me, it took me a while to find that voice because I had survivor's guilt. When I would go to support groups, it would break my heart to hear women like Betsy was sharing about how she wanted to be married, she wanted to have children. It would break my heart to go to these support groups and hear these women that felt they were quote unquote robbed of their fertility because they had to have such aggressive treatment. And here I
Yeah.
am, had just had a baby, and for a long time, I didn't really want to share my story because I was like, how dare I seem like I'm boasting or
Yeah.
somewhat putting it in their
Yeah.
face to say, look, I was still able to have a baby and look at me now. Look,
Mm-hmm.
I have 3 kids now. But my breast surgeon sat me down, and also some of my friends that were just like, no, tell your story because we want to hear the good and we want to hear the bad. So you need to tell
Yeah,
your story to
you have to.
let women
Yeah.
know that they can, it is another side to this. So it was like once he talked to me, because he's family now, once he talked to me, I just kind of steamroll from there. So I do a lot of advocacy work,
Mm-hmm.
as you all know.
Yeah.
I do a lot with Agendia because they did the mammoth print. I mean, I thank
Mm-hmm.
them and my breast surgeon alone for basically saving my daughter's life. Had
Right.
I not had that type of test, Julia wouldn't be here. And neither would Ayla or Micah. And then I also do a lot of women of color organizations. As you all know, we all met through For the Breast of Us. And then,
Yes. Wonderful
we
organization.
and other organizations, but I'm a firm believer in that. That's why I was telling you all I've been doing like myself and Betsy recently graduated from Tiger Lily Foundation as angel advocates. So I've done
Another
yep,
great one.
another great one. So I've gone on the hill with them. I'm
Yep.
trying to do the
Same here.
National Breast Center Coalition, which I was wishing you all could have made it this year, but hopefully my application gets accepted.
Let us
To
know.
I know
Hope so, because
to do the
Betsy, we
project
doing it next
leadership.
year.
Yeah, yeah, I can't wait to see because everyone says once you attend this one, I'm gonna come out there like you can't tell me nothing about breast cancer. I'm gonna be a bootleg
Right.
scientist.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be ready to rock and I'll be knowing all of it.
But that's what we need. This is exactly what we need. We need more representation of people of
Yeah,
color so that we can have all of these plethora of support systems, these go-to people
Mm-hmm.
whenever someone newly gets diagnosed, because of the fact that we get diagnosed at a later stage,
Yep.
and it's the sad reality. We get diagnosed at a later stage, and a lot of times when we do get diagnosed, the mortality rate is
Yeah, we're 40% more likely
we are
to
40.
die from it.
Yeah,
And Betsy can be a
number.
testament. The African American and the Latino community, triple negative, they are the biggest population to get
The nation.
diagnosed with the type of cancer that Betsy was diagnosed with.
Yep.
Absolutely,
And it's
absolutely. So that's
15% of the breast cancers, and it is like a 75, almost 80% mortality rate. So within 5 years of diagnosis. So it
yeah.
is very, very lethal, which is why early detection is so important. But before we talk about that, I do want to go back to the kid thing.
Yeah.
And so
Go ahead.
with women, I mean, Alicia knows this because I cried in her ear about it. So my doctor told me, I did all my treatment through the Veteran Affairs hospitals.
Mm-hmm.
Mine was in Houston, which is the biggest breast center in the VA system. So I was very blessed with that. And so like there's that fire hose of information. And I was like, well, what about kids? And they're like, well, if you're thinking about freezing your eggs, you need to make that decision like right this minute.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, that's, sure, I would like the opportunity to think about freezing my eggs. Well, according to the VA, they were not going to pay for freezing my eggs because I was single and unmarried. Had I been married, they would have paid to harvest my eggs and then house them. So that was like another blow to the. I mean, Alicia
And
knows
that's a
I've always
policy.
wanted to be a
That's a
mom.
policy that needs to be
Yep,
changed.
absolutely.
That is a
So
policy that definitely needs to be changed because we didn't ask for this.
yeah.
We didn't
Well, I mean, I finally
ask for this.
decided that maybe God doesn't want me to have maternal children, biological children. I mean, now I'm about to be 42. The thought of having to burp a kid in the middle of the night and not have the good night's sleep that I want, I'm not sure that that's a journey that I need to go on anymore. And even though I spent my entire 20s trying not to get fucking knocked up, excuse my language, I'm sorry. Now that I'm in my 40s, I am choosing to become a single mom as a foster parent. So I'm almost through the foster care.
Okay.
Yep.
Everything, and hopefully by the end of this month of March, I will be fully certified and will be able to take in foster children as well as be capable to adopt out of the foster care. So for those of you that are wondering about being able to expand your family, please, another resource. There is always children in foster care.
Yep.
You work in education, you work with them. You've probably had to deal with DSS as well, and so there's kids out there who truly do just want to be loved, and those children that are 10 years and above are the hardest ones that to get into foster care or to get adopted. So those are the kids that I want. I'm like, give me the 10-year-old that can wipe his own behind and tell me what's wrong. I'm not trying to have you whine at me, I'm done with the whining. So.
Oh well, welcome. Well, you would not last in my work. Welcome to my work. Well, that is just every day with the kindergartner. So, and you have your seventh graders. I'm like, girl,
all going
bless
through
you,
hormones.
bless you with those seventh graders.
Oh.
But as we, March is Women's History Month, and we are sharing our stories because you guys, in my eyes, are sheroes. Who's a shero to you? Who's your shero, and why?
I have a lot of them.
Okay.
I mean, I'm on the call with two of them.
Yep.
There's one that's in my top 5. Is right there in the green. That is green, right? I think I can see
the
that.
green is blue, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, I can't really pinpoint one person, because I draw my strength from a lot of different women.
Okay.
Even with, like I said, joining these foundations and volunteering, and then my friends who have been diagnosed, those who are survivors. I've lost some too. I can't really pinpoint, but I would just say I'm proud to be a part of a Shero community, I should say.
There
I'm
it
very
is.
proud of that.
I like that. Betsy, how about you?
Well, I think it's not one person can do everything for you, right?
Right.
And so it is a patch quilt of women and people, and some of them are older than us and some of them are younger than us. I mean, one of the things that I went to a conference last year, and I went to a meeting because I have 2 nieces who are half Hispanic and half Black. So being able to provide information to them and
Mhm.
help them learn about their own womanhood. I mean, one is
Yes.
21 and one is 19.
Right.
So being able to help them learn who they are as women and what they need as far as their health at an age where that wasn't talked about when we were kids. You know, like
Yes.
nobody ever talked about this stuff. Nobody clued us in onto any of this.
Right.
I do draw strength from them. I draw strength from obviously the two of you. I went to an all-female college, so I was in an all-female college and in the Marine Corps at the same time. So
Wow.
I always joke about that. But the women that I went to college with, we really talk about how our goal in life as women is to extend our hand to the next generation.
Mhm.
I'm not going to step on you as I go up the corporate ladder. I didn't appreciate women who did that to me.
Right.
That's not the type of leader that I choose to be.
Right.
And so I appreciate those women that have come before me. Everything from, you know, history books to a really awesome principal that I have right now. Just
Mhm.
showing us, you know, how to be empathetic and have compassion and
Yes.
learning when to laugh and, you know, being like, my bad, I messed up there. Let's try this again tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, like, or
Yeah.
even, you know, even the students in my classroom, I appreciate the little nuggets of information that they choose to share with me, or, you know, the moments when they choose to confide in me because they trust me. That
Mhm.
to me means a lot when you get to become someone that people can come to with whatever it is, judgment free.
Yeah.
There was a girlfriend of mine that we were in the Marine Corps with, and I learned how to not be judgmental. I was raised by a judgmental mother,
Mhm.
and I really appreciated Beth being like, well, no, we don't judge at all. Like, I don't
Mhm.
care what you look
Absolutely.
like. I care
Right.
about what's inside.
Right.
And she just kind of like grabbed me by the hand and was like, let's go do this. Like, let's do life together. And we've been friends for 20 years. So surrounding yourself with people
Mhm.
who can provide something to you that you don't already have is
Mhm.
volumes of you too. Like, I don't remember who said it, but if you're standing in a circle and you're the smartest person, and go find a new circle. I'm constantly trying to find a new circle. I'm constantly trying to make sure that I find and absorb all of the information that I can, so I can share it with people. It may not be useful to me,
Mhm.
but at least it might be useful to somebody else. And that's what
Right.
I think, you know, is important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm going to just say ditto
Mm-hmm.
to everything that both of you just said. For me, like you said, there's no one person that I can really pinpoint
Mm-hmm.
who I can say is a shero, because first, again, I'm talking to right now, and everyone else that has been in this community, that is in this community, that has fought the good fight, but has, you know, that are no longer here. They are my family, my mother, my grandmother, who is no longer with me, but and my mother's mother, who's still here. You know, the women in my family, I consider all of them shearers, but you all, my friends who are, I consider, you know, my other family, because you all have gone through this journey with me. You have held my hand, and you have done something in some way, shape, or form, have helped me to give me the strength to keep going, to push, to fight, and to get on the other side. And this is why I do what I do. And this is how Tisha's Tea Room came about, because I wanted to pay it forward. God has blessed me to, you know, be on the other side of cancer, and I didn't see a lot of women that look like me, and I want to make sure that those that are newly diagnosed women of color, hey, we're out here,
Yep.
and you don't have to go through
Yep.
this alone. And we are here to support you and to hold your hand and encourage you, and just to give you a safe space to vent, cry, laugh, cuss, whatever it is that you need to do. We are here for you, because we have gone through, we've been there, done that, still doing it, and we can get through this together. So, but I just want to thank the both of you for coming to the tea room and just sharing your amazing, wonderful, powerful stories. Just know that this is not your first and last time coming to the tea room. You two will be
I
back.
enjoyed
Sounds
it.
good. Me
Thank
too.
You
I had
will
you.
fun
be
too.
back. But we are not finished. I want to say again, thank you, and thank you to everyone that is out there that's listening. I hope that you have been blessed how I have been blessed today. This was an awesome chat. We have just chipped away at chipped away at conquering cancer, because we are going to do that, especially for people, for women of color. We are going to bridge that gap, because that 40% is going, that we're going to shrink that number. We are determined to do that, and that we are. So if you have not seen any of my previous shows, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can go and see past chats that I've had. But if you have, you know that I love to dance. And so we about to do a little dance as we celebrate Women's History Month, because I am here with two of my heroes, because what do? We run the world. So we're going to listen to Lil Beyonce as the world. So we're going to end this show because we run it.
Oh, I love it.
Me too. At least it wasn't Texas Hold'em, right, Alicia?
We run it. Betsy, Alicia, thank you so very much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. I love you both.
Love you too, T.
You haven't, and we will talk again very, very soon. Again, this is Tisha, your favorite breast cancer survivor from Tisha's Tea Room, the place where conversations conquer cancer. And we have just done that. We are conquering cancer. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can see this amazing episode. And until then, ladies, take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you guys.
Love you,
Love
Betsy.
you too. Love you, Alicia.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.